Guys, what's going on? It's your boy Dubs Oriented here, and today we have the full chapter of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, chapter 13. And yeah, we have a lot more to talk about because we have a lot of context, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the video. So the chapter starts off with Jura wanting to finish off Boruto, but he is met with Bug, and Bug asks him about Boruto, and he tells Jura that Boruto actually has an ally, and that reassures Jura of all the information he's known up until the point on how Boruto knew about like the Thorn Soul Bow, which was because of Kashin Koji, or which was because of an ally aiding him. And so Bug urges Jura be very careful. Then Bug asks Jura what happened with Hidari seeing his Thorn Soul Bulb and if he was killed off. And Jura tells him and follows up by saying that his foes were formidable, meaning Boruto, and so now they have to retreat and recuperate, and so they leaving Boruto lucky. And Jura even comments saying that Boruto is a lucky man and that this whole situation could be caused by like some divine intervention. And then we cut to Boruto, and then we're transported into a flashback where we see Boruto probably after the aftermath of Sasuke being captured by Code, and we see Boruto is on the run from Shinobi because Shinobis are like still after him, and I think he's around the region of the Wind Village, and so he's on the run. And one of Kashin Koji's toads appear behind Boruto, saying that they have found him. And so now Boruto is kind of on the edge, and he doesn't know who to trust. And so he's kind of questioning the toad, but the toad is saying that if he were really an enemy of Boruto, he would have easily alerted all the shinobi around to come and like capture him. So he's telling Boruto that he's on his side. Then Boruto has no other choice but to trust the toad, and so he touches the toad, and he is reverse summoned by Kashin Koji into one of Orochimaru's hidden hideouts, and we see Kashin Koji introduce himself as Kashin Koji. And Boruto doesn't really remember him, but through Kashin Koji holding up his broken mask, he's able to jog Boruto's memory, making him remember who he is and how. And Boruto even recounts the fact of how he killed Ao and how he almost killed Konohamaru. And Kashin Koji apologizes for that because of the fact he was on a mission and he was doing his job at the time, so he had to like play the role. But he overall apologizes to Boruto for that event happening. And then Kashin Koji further explains the fact that his frogs are artificially made and that they're not actually real frogs, through the usage of how he was able to talk to Boruto through the frog, meaning that the frog is artificial and it's a ninja tool. And then we get to the meats and potatoes of the chapter because Kashin Koji talks to Boruto about how he knows about what is going on within the world, and how he's asking Boruto if he is really the person that fled from Kara and the person that they helped, basically regarding both him and Amato, who he helped to like escape. And so he's basically trying to figure out if Boruto is actually, Kawaki. But then he knows of the fact that his memories are being altered, but he just doesn't know of omnipotence. And it's actually confirmed that he is also suspicious of what is going on and how he doesn't trust his memories because of the fact of this whole conversation that he's having with Boruto, and how Boruto isn't really, sure of the whole situation, and how he knows that Boruto and Kawaki, their identities have been flipped. Then Boruto questions Kashin Koji on how he is affected by omnipotence, but is able to make, reasonable assumptions about what is going on. And then he says that he's able to make those assumptions through knowing ahead of time. And then he confirms that after the battle with Ishiki Otsutsuki, he knew his job was done because his initial role was to, kill Jigen and awaken Ishiki so that Naruto and Sasuke would defeat him. So he knew his role was over because Ishiki's power far exceeded anything that Kashin Koji could handle at the time. So he was ready for death. And as he was dying, he was able to witness and see these glimpses of the future of future events happening, and he saw a multitude of different timelines and different scenarios going on that's in the future. And he basically describes it as like a battle royale of future outcomes competing, where they're trying to compete to where it will be probable to the most probable outcome to the least probable outcome. So it's basically a battle royale between which future outcome could possibly happen, you know. And then Kashin Koji further explains that this ability awakened within him, which is called prescience. And he says that this ability actually stems from Shibai Otsutsuki due to the fact that as Amado, you know, scientifically modified all of his cyborgs, he also implanted within them some of Shibai's cells. And through that, that's why we have Code, who is able to use the claw marks, Ada with her insane abilities, and with Damon with his, you know, reflection ability. So Koji explains that all of the cyborgs modified by Amado were able to, like, you know, awaken their Shinjutsu, except Koji himself, Boro, and Delta. But it was through that dire situation where Koji was able to awaken his Shinjutsu, which is prescience. And so Koji explains that even after the death of Ishiki, that wasn't the end of it all, because there were future outcomes where the divine tree could still be planted and where the Ten Tails could be fed and all that. And so he basically said that in order to really save the world, they would have to eradicate the whole Ten Tails as a whole, so before the whole divine tree could take place and bear its fruit for the Otsutskis to come. And so he tells Boruto that the only way they can really save the world is by getting rid of that Ten Tails. But unfortunately, it's not the case, because in every timeline, there is always going to be Ten Tails people that were created from the Ten Tails, which are the Shinju clones. In every, you know, timeline, there were always going to be an existence of the Shinju clones. And he further explains that the timelines that he's witnessed are fighting each other to see which one could actually take place, because he actually gives an example where that battle against Ishiki, if Naruto were to die, Ishiki would have been able to revive within Kawaki, and the whole world would have been destroyed, because he would have been able to, you know, feed Boruto to the Ten Tails and create the divine tree. And so he was basically explaining that there were future outcomes that would have happened, but due to, like, you know, the whole timeline shifting, those future outcomes that could have happened didn't. And so he just explains the whole nature of the things that he saw and the glimpses of the future. And then Boruto gives his input in this whole situation, and he tells Kashin Koji that his abilities do seem kind of crazy, and the outcome and the whole explanation of his abilities kind of seem unreal. But he has no reason to believe Kashin Koji would be lying about it, so he just takes it as it is. And Kashin Koji further explains the fact that this ability of prescience will be best used for intel gathering. And so he will use this ability to help Boruto train, because now he would be able to see the future in where Boruto learns a bunch of new jutsus and, you know, abilities, and through that he will teach Boruto the things that he would have already known in the future, and the jutsu that he would have already mastered in the future, which could explain the flying Raijin, the Uzuhiko, and just a plethora of different abilities Boruto learned. Okay, and then Boruto kind of fanboys, acting like his old self again, childlike self, where he's like saying it's awesome and that would be so cool. Just seeing Boruto retain that childlike innocence that he still has, you know, at the end of the day, because he's still a kid. And then we cut to a crazy ass revelation, because Kashin Koji says that the Shinju clones are going to be his enemy, they're going to be Boruto's future enemies, and that the one that he needs to be most wary of is Jura, which is the leader of the Shinju clones. And he tells Boruto that Jura is going to kill him, or unalive him in a sense. So he tells Boruto of this new fact. He explains the fact that they cannot allow this to happen. And just by Boruto knowing about this information, time has already shifted. And so destinies are going to turn out different. Realities are going to be different. And so after this, Boruto tells Kashin Koji that in all the timelines. If it requires him to kill Kawaki, he will not take part in that, and that he will just knock some sense into his big bro. And then we see Boruto putting on his headband, and he tells Kashin Koji basically that he's ready and that he will do two things at once, finishing off Code and the Ten Tails. And then we cut back to the present time, and we see that Sumire is healing, trying to recuperate Boruto and just trying to be there to care for him. And we see Konohamaru, also caring for Sarada. And Sarada yells at Konohamaru to check on Boruto. And then we see Kawaki there just lurking, just looking at Boruto so suspectively, because we know Kawaki's still, weary of Boruto and the whole situation. And then we cut to Himawari, and she's actually gaining consciousness. And she's actually with Nishi. And we see Himawari spots Sarada, and she uses her KCM chakra to heal Sarada's arm. And then Sumire calls for Himawari to heal Boruto. And, Himawari is shocked to see Boruto. And she asks if he came back. And then we see Himawari go to heal Boruto, but Kawaki kind of stops her from doing that, trying to gaslight her into thinking that Boruto is dangerous and that that she should still heal him, but in a different way. And then we see him call upon Konohamaru, and Konohamaru goes to arrest Boruto, putting him in cuffs that cancel any form of chakra usage. So no jutsu using, none of that. And these cuffs were created by Amato. And so, Konohamaru is, actually trying to arrest Boruto, which is absolutely insane. And we see Kawaki go over to Boruto, digging into his cloak, spotting one of Koji's toads, and he actually shrinks the codes, destroying any form of connection or communication Koji would have with Boruto. And then Kashin Koji just says this is like a gruesome turn. It's like an annoying turn of events, as you could say. And then we cut to the Shinju clones, and we see that Jura places the Thorn Soul Bulb of Hidari onto this center box. And we see that Hidari is able to, reform and resurrect through the vines and stuff like that. And so it seems like Hidari is still able to retain his identity and consciousness, because Jura asks him if he's all right and if he remembers anything. And he says not really, but he still is able to retain his identity. And then we cut to Matsuri, and she asks Jura is it time to do that thing yet. And so then we see another Thorn Soul Bulb, and we see that the Thorn Soul Bulb, Matsuri picks it up and she tries to use it. And that's how the chapter ends. So, oh my goodness, guys, this chapter was absolutely insane, man. Like, we get the backstory on how Kashin Koji and Boruto met. We basically get a reveal on Kashin Koji's abilities and how he's able to use one of Shibai's broken Shinjutsu, which is prescience, which is basically foresight, being able to tell what will happen in the future, and just being given so many infinite possibilities of what the future could be. It's so broken, bro. Like I said before, I like this ability more, and I think it's more useful than Ada's clairvoyance, but clairvoyance is still a really good ability. But Kashin Koji, compared to his, it's kind of better, because he's given multiple outcomes. He's given multiple timelines that could happen, and that would allow him to gain a lot of information. He's even able to use it to train up Boruto, because he's able to look at the timeline, and he's able to look into the timeline of where Boruto learns a plethora of abilities, and he's able to teach Boruto based on that fact, which is absolutely insane and so cool in my opinion. And then we see Kawaki is he's still salty as heck, because then he goes to arrest Boruto, and he's just really trying to cover all his boxes, trying to get Boruto to reveal himself and all that. So Kawaki is still as being a hater as usual. And then we cut to the Shinju clones, and I'm glad Hidari isn't done. I'm glad he's not dead, because I was kind of worried. And it seems as if they're going to recreate another Shinju, or they're going to, resurrect that Shinju we saw that looked like Shinki. So it could be between the two. It could be either one. But I'm just so excited to see who they're going to resurrect, And if it's a whole new Shinju clone, albeit, or it could be, you know, Shinki's Shinju clone, which I'm so excited to see, guys. And yeah, man, this chapter was absolutely insane. Fire, fire, fire. This was a really context heavy chapter, but the context was needed, bro, because we know with the leaks, they didn't really give us too much. But with this chapter, they gave us a lot to talk about. So I hope, yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And please, guys, comment down below in the comment section below on what you guys thought of the chapter and of the video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.